I want to play you all a clip of Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett being asked about the fact that she's doing something Marjorie Taylor Greene definitely has not wanted to see, which is selling merchandise with the now iconic 6 words, bleach blonde, bad build, butch body. Now, I know many of you are aware of this back and forth, and I've expressed, while obviously Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the worst people that we have to talk about in this American politics discussion, I don't like us stooping to body shaming. But the way that Jasmine Crockett explained herself in this clip is pretty compelling, I have to say. But again, I'll give you all my thoughts afterwards, and the outcome that Jasmine Crockett is saying she's doing this in the interest of is obviously one I align with, and with any of my critiques of how she's going about this, it obviously comes with so much respect given my admiration for her work on a daily basis. But here's the clip from The View, her getting asked again about an insult, even though it was in defense and she was body shaming because Marjorie Taylor Greene made it about her eyelashes. She is getting asked about this potentially critically.
You have fundraised off of merchandise around this, and you've gotten some pushback from people saying, are we just lowering the institution if we're both kind of playing into this? How do you respond to that?
Kind of like the audience just did. Listen, here's the deal. There are people such as Trump that want to peddle Bibles, peddle gym shoes, peddle whatever it is, in anything that he can sell, he's going to sell it. And he's not doing it for his party. He's doing it for self. So what she meant for evil, in my opinion, God meant for good. And so that's what I was going to do in that moment. When I set out to do the trademark, that is not personally done. It's done under the campaign. It was because there was a demand. I'm a business major who also is a lawyer. So the two things came together, right? Yeah. So this is about making sure that we can raise the monies. It's so that I can help save our democracy. My money goes to frontliners, people that are in fights to make sure that we can take the House. We've seen that the House has been run like a circus. We need Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. And so if they lose the House, I'm just go ahead and blame it on Marjorie.
So, oh my goodness, so many thoughts on this. First, I do have to say, none of it. I want to hear none from commenters. Feel free to comment. I'm curious to hear what you all think about this. So the entire time, throw your thoughts my way. But one thing I don't want to hear is a false equivalency, which I've heard. The sort of, see, both sides are out of control, both sides are childish, both sides this, that, and the other thing. Because what we've seen is when Democrats are the majority in the House of Representatives, they governed like adults. Now they don't have the power. So they have to go into context where it's already sort of decided for them how ridiculous the setting's going to be. But are they going to go in there and be aggressive? Go in there and get their message out, go in there and get viral moments for themselves, or just let Republicans steer things. And so when we zoom out separate from this particular moment and just look at these hearings, and especially the younger batch of Democratic lawmakers in the House of Representatives, they've done something we've been begging them to do, which is play the game a little bit. If Republicans are going to do these ridiculous impeachment stunt hearings against President Joe Biden, go in there and make fools out of them. I've said it before, but if they're going to make a joke out of the House, then you have to make a joke out of them. And that's why Jared Moskowitz has done these sort of silly things where he's shown, charts about Trump and how many indictments he has. It goes viral. People get a message. Jasmine Crockett has had a bunch of iconic moments, and people get a message. They understand that, Republicans are not actually accomplishing things, but instead holding these sorts of stunt hearings and doing these different policy adjacent things that are only aimed at, like, they're trying to make voting illegal for those who are not citizens, even though it's already illegal. These sort of stunt political postures. And that should be called out through sometimes stunts of Democrats. And so that I stand by, and that's important to point out as we have this conversation. But this particular example of a Democrat jumping down into the space where MAGA Republicans are operating and saying, all right, you're going to insult my eyelashes? I'm going to insult your body. And then I'm going to sell merch based on that insult. I've said it before. On one end, she's gone viral. She's getting all these interviews, and she can say the pro-democracy message. So on that end, the outcome is something that is maybe yielding good. But on the other end, I'm not for body shaming. And I think there's other ways to express the same general points about the unseriousness of MAGA without just reflecting sort of the attacks that they're levying your way. And is the outcome of that allowing for a really easy both sides sort of conversation of they're both childish, even though, like I said, that's not a fair comparison, but it is something that a lot of people can now very easily do when it comes to this particular back and forth. And so I think sort of my takeaway here is I would say, don't do that, right? Don't body shame. But if she's going to, I'm not mad that she might fundraise for Democrats in the House. And if that helps them win the House of Representatives, I'm not going to be grumpy, personally, privately. But I also do think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is beautiful on the outside, vile, horrible on the inside. That is my stance, and I'm sticking to it. But I want to hear your stance. Should we go in this sort of territory? Should we not? What do we do? What if this merch goes mega platinum and gets tons of sales and we can contribute that to democracy-oriented causes? It's a very tough situation. I've told you my stance. I want to hear yours in the comments. But again, and I see you over there, I know you're thinking, okay, cool, I'm going to say that Democrats and Republicans have both just gotten so childish and they're completely sending the institution into the trash. No, MAGA is. And I've levied my critiques the way of Jasmine Crockett as well on this one. But there's no false equivalency. And when Democrats had the House, I'll say again, and I'll show you a clip to bolster this point in just a second here of Jared Moskowitz, one of my favorites of his moments. And when Democrats had the House, we just saw one policy after another being passed. Historic legislation, governing was going on. Things got a whole heck of a lot more crazy, goofy, and unproductive the second the Republicans took over in the majority. Maybe that's the cause. And that should be kept in mind as we're talking about this, even with the criticisms. Here's Jared Moskowitz making this point that while Democrats had a historic record of policies being implemented to benefit people's lives when they were in the majority in the House, Republicans also have a historic record. It's just a different type of historic.
And, this is going to be, it's a little awkward when you want to disagree with someone on your side of the aisle, but I have to dramatically disagree with my colleague, Ms. Crockett, who used data and statistics and facts to claim that this is the least productive Congress in modern history. First of all, this Congress removed the Speaker, which has never happened in the history of the Republic. That's clearly that's a big accomplishment. In the 118th. This Congress took 15 rounds to even elect that speaker that they then removed, right, which was historic in its own right. And then they removed a member of their own party. That hadn't happened in 20 years, so kudos to them. They've had a failed impeachment of a president. I don't think we've seen that happen in a really long time. This Congress did impeach a cabinet secretary, though, without meeting any constitutional threshold. We haven't seen that happen in 150 years. This Congress wants to hold Merrick Garland in contempt and then possibly arrest him. I don't think we've ever seen that in the history of the Republic. We've seen a failed motion to vacate to remove a second speaker. Again, history in the 118th. And who could forget that this Congress, on behalf of the American people, saved gas stoves and ovens and toasters and blenders and dishwashers from the communist grip of energy standards. So I think Ms. Crockett was pointing out that this is least productive. These seem to be accomplishments on behalf of the American people that are clearly historic and may never be repeated in another Congress.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you want to get a daily bonus show, if you're thinking right now, oh, that side camera, he uses it a lot of times when it's the end of the video, so I'm sad because the video's over and I want more. There is more. If you've watched all the recent videos on the channel, there's even more than that, and you get the bonus show by clicking that join button below.